as you can see, that's far, far better. Okay, so here we have, on the left here, we have a standard BMW Lollipop bush or lower control arm. Just for ease, I'm just going to call it a Lollipop bush. So it's the standard aluminium kind of housing with the standard bush. And over on the right here we have the poly bush that I have bought for it. Reasons why I want to change this is where the control arms go onto on these, it seems to create a lot of flex. It's the only bush on the front of the control arms, and it seems to take a lot of the load of like the car when I go over bumps and stuff like that. So I reckon by stiffening this bush up, I should be able to get rid of this brake wobble I get with the steer that comes through the steering wheel. Right there, right there, right there. Look at the wheel. That's the thing with the braking I was trying to film. So let's actually take a look at these bushes and see what the differences are. So the middle hex part you're seeing is where the control arm actually slips into. Around this we have a lot of open space, and in the center there you can see there's actually a ring that comes out which kind of is meant to lock it in place and give it a bit more stiffness. Now if I was going down the route of making this one here a more solid bush, what I would actually be more inclined to do is to fill it with tiger seal around the open edges, so that this middle section here flex less. If I was to have enough strength in my little fingers, I could actually move this middle section left and right, and you would see the deflection. As you can see in this footage here, you can see when I push the wheel actually moves as if the steering wheel's been turned, but it's actually just the deflection in the bush. So as you can see, try to pull this out. I don't have a flat head with me. This middle bit here comes out, which leaves you with a very open bush. So it really matters whether if you have this middle piece in or not to the stiffness of the bush. But this, as you can see, there's still, even with this part here, there's still a lot of open gaps in here, and yeah, that's going to be able to allow the bush to move and actually make a softer and more comfortable ride. But in certain circumstances of when you're on the road, if you hit a bump, load from the bump can be transferred through this bush and it'll send your kind of toe off, and the car will actually wiggle about on the road, as you can see. Now I've got a common problem with one of mine that's on the car right now, where this little ring here keeps coming off, and it's quite a bugger to get back on, really. It seems easy enough here, but when it's actually on the car and you've got a control arm going through the middle, yeah, it's not the easiest of things. Either way, I'm not a fan of these bushes. It's just, yeah, there's a lot of room for play, there's a lot of room for error. Now, poly bushes are always going to be a stiffer bush. It's not like the rubber we got there. This is another type of plastic. As you can see with this though, this design, it's a lot more filled in, and there's a lot less wiggle room. They also stink. So I've went for the softer kind of rubber. So once these are installed in, there'll still be a bit of deflection that can go through this, but it won't be as much as what the rubbers can do. So as you can see, there's a lot more meat in these. You can also see just together that this bush here is going to sit in there, and it's not going anywhere. And just a note for Brad, who's installing these, the thickness does matter. Alright, quick guide how to get the poly bushes in. Use some grease. I used red rubber grease because it's what I've got and it's made for rubber, so not polyurethane. Sometimes you get packets of grease that come with that, choose that. Make sure you grease the face that's going to be slipping in, and also the middle bit here. You can actually see there's grooves there, so it holds grease in there, so it can pivot if it needs to. The little mark on these here corresponds where the hex part goes in, so like make sure a corner of the hex is lined up with that guy there. Apart from that, when you're pushing it in, make sure first of all you got it in the right way. Try keep the bush as flat as possible. The bush is going to want to naturally pivot like that, but you want to keep it as flat as possible, so you'll see that I'm using a combination of the press clamp and a G clamp just to keep it in check, and eventually it will just pop right through. We're in, but we're not quite lined up though with the line, so what I do so that's it about in. We'll soon see when we get in the car, but yeah, no, there we go. That's it installed. So just quickly show you, this is what it looks like when you get one of them in. It's quite a faff to get the old one out. They're not too bad to get in, you just push them. They look like they're going to break the little lips off, but they're pretty solid. So just keep pushing them till they go. So over here we have one without the spacer bits, and you can see that it flexes quite easily obviously, but that's obviously because it's not got a little bit of rubber in. Here we have one that has the bit of rubber in, so if I pull it that way there's not much flex, but this way still flex, and as you can see you're not you're not going to get any flex in that. Also there's back and forward flex in these as well, which is kind of hard to show, but that like center bit here moves up and down, whereas on this, because it's locked in with those big thicker bits of rubber, you don't get that. So yeah, it's an interesting comparison anyways. And also no aluminium sleeve, actually that's zinc coated. That looks like mild steel. Yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna try to get that one out, put that one in. It's quite a faff, but I do get there. Alright, so I've got a side-on comparison now. I took the actual bush, the rubber bush out, and have a look at that. A lot of space for movement in there. So that lives inside the middle of that obviously. But yeah, there's a lot of movement space. You compare it to this where it's nice and solid. Yeah, you can see why I want to change those. That'll be nice for comfort, but tyre wear, not so much. So as you can see here, this is the issue I have. These little rings, they just keep coming off, and it makes steering feel horrible. And yeah, I'm just giving up on it. I can't be bothered with it anymore.
so they're getting polybushed. So what we're going to do is, by the looks of things, this is going to be very easy depending on how solid that thing is in there. But we're going to take off the aluminium brace and then the 2 bolts there, and then whack that off. So let's get that off. What a shot those are. I could almost rip that off. Which is expected, the little ring on the back's not there. There we go. Alright, gonna finish up on the GoPro here. So, conclusions of the Lollipop bushes. So, steering wheel feel far better. It's just exactly the same as what happened with the rear. The rear end was very loosey-goosey, and especially when braking, it did actually feel like it was darting around a bit, but when I changed those out, they were corroded, they were gone. Insert pictures here, Brad. But yeah, as you can see in these pictures, they were absolutely toast, and like the new ones were easy enough to put in as well. It just slipped right on in. So I recommend everybody do the rear ones as well. So the front ones, so my brake judder is gone. not fully, but it is really noticeable, the big difference of it. I might just have some warped discs. You can see in the footage of here right now. You can see, but yeah, it's 100 times better already, and the actual steering wheel feel as well is, it doesn't feel loose anymore. It's so much more precise. You can actually have more fun with it. Yeah, no, so I would highly recommend doing it, both of them, if you've got any form of like BMW with that has those kind of bushes. So E36 and E46, I would highly recommend doing the front and rear with a poly bush. And you know, you don't need to spend mad money. The ones for the rear, I think they were 20 quid, and the ones for the front of this were 20 quid also. So yeah, and you can reuse your old bush things. I've obviously just had new ones sitting around because I was going to put them in, but then I decided to poly bush them. So yeah, 100% far better. And for the rear as well, when I did the rears, I had a set of tyres on. They lasted me 3,000 miles. They were just toasted. And it's not as if like I was trying to do burnouts and stuff with them and be stupid. It was literally just me driving around, and they lasted 3,000 miles, and I've done well over 3,000 miles on these set of tyres that I've got on right now. So I'd highly recommend. It's definitely a worthy upgrade, like for both of them. Even if you don't want to do track driving, drifting, whatever like that. Even if you are just driving like just around town, it's night and day difference. The difference of these bushes, and they will make your tyres last longer. Why BMW decided to put all their comfort into one bush, I could word that better, but why they decided to do that it is a bit of a mystery. It's like they just seem far too loose from factory, and yeah, these things are known for eating tyres, so I think that's one of the main reasons. But also, I mean, power, torque, blah blah blah, weight being a big one. So yeah, I highly recommend that you guys go out, spend the 40 quid, spend a couple of days, or not even a couple of days, of just doing it. The rear ones, you just have to take, like where they are situated, that is your toe adjustment, so you need to just mark where your bolts are right there and then drop everything out, take the little casing off, bolt out, and then push out your old bearing and clean it up and put the new one in, put it all back up. So I'm definitely due a wheel alignment with this car now, because I've changed quite a lot of things in it, but I think I want to make my own string kit before I get into all that stuff and actually do it myself, I think. So maybe that'll be something in the future, making a DIY string kit, still with probably a set of axle stands or something. But yeah, as far as the BMW's going, the catch can, I think I've got a fairly hefty vacuum leak and it is swallowing fuel, although it could just be E10, I don't know. So as of right now, I'm kind of annoyed at the BMW for drinking as much fuel and also throwing up random stupid codes, but it's just a BMW thing. My Toyota badge, which you can't see out the corner here, is definitely not doing its thing. But yeah, it's still fun to drive, and seeing as we now have Archie's BMW on the road and it's all set up for drifting, it really is making me want to get this, just the diff in and everything like that. So hopefully I can do that at some point and get it out to a drift day and just have fun in it, instead of being annoyed at how much fuel it drinks and how annoyed it is when it does break. But it will be a good little car once everything's ironed out on it. And I mean, this is what I wanted to do before I got into drifting with it, because I mean, if I was starting to drift in my front arms are going blah, 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 yeah, it's not going to help, is it? So better with something a bit more sturdy in there. Yep, okay, so I'm going to call it a video there, and thank you very much for watching. I hope I tried a different layout with editing of this video, so hopefully it's a bit more enjoyable. Tried a different few things as well with more cameras, so hopefully that's a bit more interesting. Because oh, that was nice. That was a nice old V70 Volvo. So yeah, I hope it's just a little bit better. But I am trying. It's just the editing takes forever, and I forget to do stuff with it. Either way, I'm getting distracted now. Either way, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, catch you in the next one. Next BMW video. Or is it going to be an MR2 video? Or is it going to be a Yaris video? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Not even myself.